Hello everyone, it's me again coming your way with another recipe, and I hope everyone is doing well by God's grace. So today's recipe, I'm going to show you how we can use rice and cassava dough to make dough for banku, because I've told you I am experimenting other ways of making dough for banku because I'm running out of options where I am now. So rice mixed with cassava dough, and you'll be amazed what you get. We've been missing so much. Just say we've relied on corn for too long. So let's rely on other ingredients that are available to us. So let's get into it and I'll show you how. For this recipe, I'm going to be using brown rice. You can use white rice if that's what you have. I have a lot of brown rice lying around and I thought to use that instead. But I think white rice is also perfect, right? Add water to your rice, okay? Make sure your bowl is big enough for your rice to rise. For your rice to rise, because your rice is going to double in size, okay? You add water and you leave it overnight. So it's overnight, and as you can see, my bowl was not big enough. So I was speaking from experience, all right? So yes, I'm turning it into a bigger bowl. I'm going to wash it and we will blend the rice. Okay, so blend the rice. Make sure that the rice is very smoothly blended. Okay, no rough patches here and there. No, make sure it's nice and smooth. Otherwise, your banku is going to be very rough, and we all know that banku is not rough. It's nice and smooth. Okay, so that is it. I've blended it and I'm turning it back into the bowl. I'm blending all of it. Okay, as you've seen, all of it now is gone in here. And the next thing that I would do is that I'm going to add my cassava dough. So my cassava dough has already been fermented, right? It's already fermented cassava dough. You can just blend your fresh cassava and add to it, okay? And you let both ferment together. But then I didn't have fresh cassava. I had already made some cassava dough and it was already sitting there, so I added it. So the ratio was 1 kilogram to 500 grams of cassava dough. Bear in mind, rice can be very soft, okay? So if you add too much cassava dough, what it means is that your banku will turn out to be extra soft, unless probably you've given to a baby, and then that's fine, or that's how you like your banku, okay? But when it becomes too soft, don't worry. Anytime I'm making banku or anything like this and it turns too soft, all that I think about is tuwo zafi. Tuwo zafi can be very, very soft, but still we eat it, okay? So just, mold it and leave it for a bit until set for you. So once I mix both ingredients together, it's nicely mixed, I scoop it into this bag, okay? You can put it in any sack bag that you have, any esam kotoku. You can put it in nutmeg bag or whatever bag you have to strain stuff, okay? Right? I'm going to add everything in there. I will tie this and I'm going to let it sit for 3 days, okay? That is the ideal time for this to ferment. But then if you are in a colder climate, it's going to take longer. So mine, I didn't have to wait for long. I made mine sit for like 5 days because it was so cold, very, very cold. So I just let it sit for 5 days near where there was a heater. So the place was a bit warm, okay? So it's been 5 days, okay? If you're in Ghana, 3 days should be fine. And what happens is, whilst it is sitting out, because it was in a colander or sonye, the water that was coming through the sieve was draining. I thought I had showed it, but then my camera did me say te wadenche. So this is it, and look at that. It is like the texture is amazing. The texture is fantastic. You will love this. I'm like, oh my God, this is great. I have loads of rice. And cassava is in abundance, but you can't get corn anywhere to make banku. Why am I so obsessed with making banku? Because my husband is an ewe. So what am I going to do? So what I did was to turn some into flour, because my problem. If you've watched my how to make my banku mix recipe, dry banku mix recipe, I have problem with freezer space. So I turned some into flour to see if that will work, okay? Because this is something new that I'm trying. So yes, and trust me, it worked perfectly. So that is it. And look at that, it's dried and I've blended it. It's not part of the recipe. It is not. Yeah, I didn't show that. It dried and I've blended it, and look at how nice it is. So that is our dough that we are going to make. A word of caution here: if you are going to be using this to make banku, or if you are going to try this recipe, when you're mixing it at this stage, make sure that you mix it to a very thick consistency. Let it be as thick as cocoa. Okay, don't let it be watery, as thick as maybe ekwegbemi or something like that. I'm adding my salt now because you need salt to add. Unless you're not allowed to eat salt. That is fine. Okay, right. So yeah, make sure it's very nice and thick, right? Because as I said, the rice can be soft, and adding cassava dough to it makes it even softer. So don't make it as watery as you see mine here, okay? Because as you see later, it became very soft. But then when I tried it again later, you see how soft it has become. When I tried it again later, I mixed it to a very thick consistency, and it was perfect. So make sure that your mixture is super thick. The thing with banku is, once it's thick, you just keep adding water to it. If it's too hard, you just keep adding water to it, okay? And then you see I'm showing you that it's kind of soft. Maybe it's okay, but to me, I thought it was too soft, but it was fine, okay? You can always add water if it's too hard or it's too firm, okay? But when it's too soft, fixing it's kind of difficult. So that is a word of caution there, right? So that is it done, and you will see this banku. Just like, my husband didn't know that it was rice and cassava dough. I didn't tell him. I've told you, if I tell him, it will get into his head. He won't eat it. So he said, this banku is really soft too, Samira. I said, yes, I know. It's nice, isn't it? He said, I love it. Why are you I said, okay, why are you? He said, that's it. Only my dear. Up to now, I've not told him. I'll tell him in future. Anyway, thank you everyone for joining me. This was fantastic. I hope this helps you one way or the other. For me, it has helped me, and I hope you give it a try if you're interested. Thank you for joining me, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.